Okay, everybody has been blowing my phone up about this, so let's talk about it. So apparently there's this big YouTuber named like Pewdie, whatever, I don't know his name, but he made like a reaction video to one of my TikToks, making fun of like my nails, making fun of my signs with his dog, and then like I guess at one point mocking my voice. So how do I feel? I feel like it was very weird and very unnecessary, but at the same time, I wasn't surprised. I'm used to it. It's been a big issue in the deaf community. I've been trying to like normalize and put it out that using nails while signing is normal, like it's okay, but then a big creator comes on here and puts us like a million steps back, so it's very frustrating. I feel like if any other hearing person was telling this story but they had long nails on but they didn't need a sign to get their point across, he would have listened to the full story and maybe even had a laugh. But because I had to sign to communicate and I had long nails on, he like stopped the video after like 2 seconds, didn't even listen to the story, and then after that proceeded to like make fun of me signing with his dog. Maybe he didn't know I was doing sign language, maybe he just didn't like my long nails. That's okay. A lot of people don't like them. That's fine. They're not for you. If that was the case, he should have just been like, oh, I do not like her nails, and just skip the video. But instead, he chose to watch the video, stop it, and was like, oh, her nails are too much. And then he proceeded to like mock me doing sign language, which shows he knew I was doing sign. We also knew he knew because as soon as people was calling him out after he posted it, he went back and removed my clip. He didn't remove it, but he put like a sound over it so you couldn't see what he was saying about me, which I feel like made the situation worse. You really could have just like addressed it and been like, my bad, I didn't know she was signing, I just didn't like the nails, and we really would have been fine. But no, you decided to like go back, edit it out, and sweep it under the rug like nothing happened. Baby, it don't work like that over here. If you made a mistake, admit the mistake. You don't just get to like mock deaf people who have already been struggling for years with people like you and then like go about your day like nothing happened. And then to top it off, since my video was so cringy, so weird, you couldn't even watch it for more than 2 seconds, you went ahead and put it in your thumbnail. I really try to give him like the benefit of the doubt too. I was like, maybe he really just doesn't know. Maybe he's like really unaware, even though it's 2022 and like there's deaf people in sign language all over the media. But the mocking of like the sign and the voice and then going back and editing it out and then putting me on the thumbnail, I was like, he definitely has to know. But I mean, we all live and learn. If he did not know before, he definitely knows now.
No, but some of you guys have never met a deaf person before, and it shows. I can't tell you how many times a person has walked up to me and they start speaking, and I'm like, no, 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 I'm deaf. And they look at me like, what's wrong? You look like a deer in headlights right now. If you're hearing and meet a deaf person for the first time, don't be scared. Try and communicate with us. I promise we don't bite. Okay, maybe I do, but that's not the point. Communication is key.
I was surprised to see that a woman like that was real into me. She said she didn't have no man.
If you are racist, you are not a feminist. If you are homophobic, you are not a feminist. If you are transphobic, you are not a feminist. If you are ableist, you are not a feminist. If you are pro-capitalism, you are not a feminist. If you are anti-abortion, you are not a feminist. Feminists advocate for the rights and needs of all. Feminists advocate for equality. Radical feminists are not feminists. TERFs are not feminists. If your feminism only reaches out to able-bodied, white cis women, you are not a feminist. And you are asinine for insisting that you are.
Florida can't find enough school teachers, so what's the GOP doing? Throwing the military at it. In a shocking turn of events that nobody saw coming, weaponizing their school system to try to win a culture war and make their governor the next presidential candidate has made it so that nobody wants to work in their state anymore, and now there are 450,000 students without a permanent teacher. And their plan to drive public education into the ground is working too quickly for privatization to keep up, so they need like an interim measure to make sure that all those kids don't go teacherless. So what's their solution? The military. I'm not joking, the military. If you've served 48 months, which is 2 years less than your standard enlistment, you can just go be a Florida school teacher. And as a veteran, I'm torn because I just spent last month describing how as a medic, most of my job was just fixing the injuries that people in their first 48 months of enlistment were causing to themselves. So I don't know if that's the group we need teaching children. Not to mention the fact that most of the vets I know fall under two camps. The ones who realized the government lied to them, came home to an uncaring populace that held them up as political props or ignored their medical needs, driving them so far left that now they can't stand any of this culture war nonsense or the people perpetuating it. And the other side, which is the ones that bought into the propaganda so badly that they cry during the Pledge of Allegiance. Golly, I wonder which one the GOP is looking for. And the comments online under any of the news articles about this are incredible, because every single one is just some conservative being like, good, those teachers don't want to carry? Well, we'll get people who do. And it's like, oh my God, that's your first thought. That was the first thing you thought when you saw a school teacher was like, somebody's got to carry in them schools. And it's like, buddy, if you think that the prerequisite for teaching middle schoolers is war experience, you should fix your middle schools. Are we gonna get like artillerymen to teach the kids math? And it'll be like, well, when I was overseas, doing this equation made the bad guys go away. So pay attention, kids, because it's gonna be on the test. And the test is war. All right, kids, welcome to science class. I've sliced these live frogs open. It's time to save their lives. Welcome to shop class, and here's why you never cut the blue wire. Whistle prop. All right, kids, it's I'm up, he sees me, I'm down. I want you to run these drills. Let's go. The absurdity of let's just throw soldiers at it aside, I've left out the most crucial detail of this, and that is that it's not just soldiers, it's also their spouses. You know, that lady on the base who thinks you should salute her because her husband's a colonel. She's just qualified to teach now. Every single dependa that sat in a bar outside base is now a qualified school teacher, and I won't hear anything less. You put those poetry books down, children, and you listen to how I stood on a hilltop in a white dress waiting for my sailor to come home from war.
You ready? Let's go!
They're not my dream candidate either, but what's the alternative? An actual fascist? Look, the people have spoken. You need to vote blue like your life depends on it, because it does. Period.
You hear that? Yet more proof they'll vote for whoever we tell them to, as long as they're running against the most racist, far-right extremists possible. Keep that in mind next election.
Next election, vote for me. I don't believe the Supreme Court is going far enough. Donald Trump is literally baby Jesus. And on Jan 6th, I stole this pen from Democratic leadership.
Now go ahead and keep it. And here, have a sizable campaign donation as well.
Thanks, Democratic leadership. Because of your contribution, I was able to defeat a moderate Republican in my primary.
Great, now our voters will vote for anybody, even this guy.
I won't raise the minimum wage to stop climate change. Whew, it's getting hot. But at least I'm a Democrat.
Deaf accents aren't cringe, they're impressive. I feel that people forget that speaking isn't something your brain magically does on its own. Why would I want your opinions on my voice when I literally can't hear it? Wild idea. How about we don't measure deaf people by how they communicate?
People who invented the gender binary, it's people who uphold the gender binary, it's...
You should go back and watch that original video. Now, I'm not here to come to the defense of white people ever, but I do want to complicate the way that we view the gender binary, especially when we talk about it being created by the Western world or white people, because that's completely ahistorical. And I feel like when we say that, we miss out on like a big part of what like gendered oppression looks like, because the gender binary has existed before the conception of white people or black people, and it has been found pre-colonial times in other cultures. Now, there are definitely cultures that had more than two genders. That's not what I'm arguing, but the gender binary was very much so prevalent before colonization and European contact. And I think it misses out on a big key point that like should not be forgotten when we talk about gendered oppression, especially against women, that gendered oppression will continue to exist after white supremacy because it existed before it. And we can definitely talk about how the gender binary is enforced by the Western world and how our conception of these two genders are definitely Eurocentric. But to say like women of color, people of color were living in kumbaya before like Europeans is just not true. And it misses out on like some of the inequalities in our cultures of color that need to be addressed and will probably have to be addressed separately from white supremacy. And again, white supremacy has definitely warped our conception of the two genders and what each of us has to serve to one another. But gender binaries primarily subjugate women, subjugate people who can reproduce, and subjugate people who are gender nonconforming and gender oppressed. And saying that the gender binary was solely created by white people just misses out on talking about the inequality that exists in our own cultures and how we can rectify it, as it exists as an issue that can inhabit its own sphere. I just think it's very, very important to highlight that women and other gender oppressed people were still subjugated to gendered oppression before colonization. And yes, I think we can all agree that white supremacy is like the domineering, it's the lens that we view a lot of these other oppressions through, especially queer oppression and gendered oppression. But they did exist, and that struggle has been there pre-colonization, and that has to be addressed if we want to rectify it.
Anything is breakfast food if you try hard enough. You know what I mean?
No, literally every food is a breakfast food, and if you think differently, it's because of advertising and lobbying. So for a long time, there were no specific breakfast foods. People would just eat leftovers from the night before. However, people who lived on farms out of convenience would often collect eggs to eat for breakfast in the morning and then also eat pork from the night before, and that's why those foods are associated with breakfast. The Industrial Revolution happened, indigestion also happened, and people blame this farm-style breakfast. Enter cereal companies. These companies were pushing sugary cereals, convincing people that that was the healthiest option, while simultaneously convincing people that breakfast was the most important meal of the day, so it has to be the healthiest, which is factually untrue. No matter what time of day it is, unhealthy food is unhealthy, and healthy food is healthy. Why is bacon a breakfast food if it's supposed to be healthy food? PR expert for a baking company was Sigmund Freud's nephew. He used that fact to get a bunch of doctors to sign a letter basically saying that the healthiest thing you can eat in the morning is bacon and eggs. So, moral of the story, just be like me and eat Lunchables and cold pizza for breakfast.
Stitch this with your best "Hey, good morning," followed by your most uncomfortable historical fact.
Hey, good morning. Did you know that due to racist housing policies such as redlining, you could decently predict whether or not someone is going to go to jail or college based on their zip code? We live in the bad place.
What's a history fact that just gets you choked up every time you have to tell it?
We shoot the sick, the young, the lame. We do our best to maim, because the kills all count the same. Napalm sticks to kids. This was a marching song created by members of the U.S. military during the war in Vietnam, and it's 17 stanzas long, and I literally am not allowed to read them on here. I've thought about that song literally every single day since I read this book, Kill Anything That Moves, The Real American War in Vietnam by Nick Turse. The song wasn't a celebration of what was happening, but it was dark humor that was used to help cope with war crimes. I can't even say that that was one of the most horrifying things I learned while reading this book, because every single page is incredibly depressing. I really think more people should read this because I think we need to reckon with the American empire.
Hey, have you washed your legs yet? I don't need to wash my legs. Wait, what do you mean? The soapy water comes down off of your legs. I'm telling. What? Nope, you not showering no more. You got us out here with dirty legs. The soapy water washes down. That's not how it... Wash your damn legs, you nasty bastard!
Am I a criminal? No. Have I committed a crime? Yes. So me and my girlfriend were at Urban Outfitters, and I cannot tell you how much I love shopping with her. It's especially nice because one of the benefits of shopping while in a wheelchair is she gets to hang all of her bags on the back of my chair, and I get to feel like I'm helping her carry her stuff around. And as somebody with a physical disability, I don't really help her too much with that kind of stuff, so when I can, it means a lot. For reference, when all is said and done, my chair usually looks something like this, and I love it so much. So anyway, we're walking around Urban Outfitters. She's picking out clothes and bags, hanging them on the back of my chair for potential purchases, and I'm feeling like the best looking coat rack you've ever seen. We eventually wrap up, head to the checkout line, and get to the cashier and take the clothes off of me. No, we do not. We don't take my clothes off, That's not the crime that I commit today. We put everything that we're gonna buy on the table and we buy it. So at this point, I'm happy, she's happy, we're sitting outside Urban Outfitters for a while, we go to Starbucks, having a day, you know? Eventually I ask her to get something out of my backpack, and she goes back there, and I hear her go, huh, and I go, what? And she pulls out this bag, and she says, I don't remember buying this bag. It was at that point we realized we just pulled off a heist. That's right, Bonnie and Clyde's got nothing on us. The plan to steal this bag was so good, we didn't even know about it. So now I'm realizing I'm a fugitive to the law. I might need a disguise. Do I grow out my beard? Do I shave my beard? What do I do with my facial hair at a time like this? Now I know what you're thinking. Just return the bag. Nope. Damage was already done. That bag was clearly meant to be hers, and I don't see it any other way.
How to spend a bougie weekend in Martha's Vineyard. First of all, you're going to want to make sure to rent a Jeep Wrangler. This is a major key.
Yeah. Do y'all ever stop and think before making these, while making these, in your Jeep Wrangler, and have any type of curiosity about the communities in which you're stepping into? Noape, known to you as Martha's Vineyard, has locals and it has an indigenous population. I'm Chappaquiddick Wampanoag, and my tribe is from Chappaquiddick Island. The place you think is just like a fun, remote beach spot. It's lovely that people love the island, but it would be lovelier if they cared about its stewards or the people who call it home.
I called this meeting to discuss who's going to be on the cover of our White History Month issue. Should we ask Margin to come to this meeting? Why would we invite Margin to this meeting? I think the real question here is, why isn't there a Black History Month? I don't think you're allowed to say that. Okay, woke police. Anyway, does anyone have any ideas about who our cover girl should be? I think we can really push the envelope. Yeah, definitely. Keke Palmer. She's so hot right now. Keke Palmer? She is so all-American girl next door. She's not exotic looking at all. I was watching this ethnic movie and I discovered this girl. Her name is Diane Cameron, and she'd be a really unexpected cover girl. Are you high? We need a cover girl who's exotic but still fits our aesthetic. Okay, hear me out. Keke Palmer, but we give her a blowout. With her straight hair, she'd be so exotic looking. So it's like a nod to European Americans, but still American and on brand. That's brilliant. That could work. Great. Let's run that.
I don't even know what criminal mischief is, but I'm definitely doing that shit. Like, and really, it's your fault for even suggesting it and giving me the idea, because I didn't even know that shit existed, but I'm definitely doing it. And as far as disorderly conduct, that's a made-up word so you can arrest drunk people. And urinating in public, nobody does that on the Jersey Shore. The ocean's down the street. You just go in the ocean and pee. Like, fish do it. So, I'm definitely doing all this stuff, and it's your fault, because you gave me a nice list. Zero tolerance. What are you, a fucking grammar school teacher?
In a little less than a month, I'm getting body masculinization surgery. A lot of people are asking, what is body masculinization surgery? So I actually contacted my doctor and got them to give me some projections. So I have like a photo of how I look now and then a projection of how I'll look after the surgery, and I wanted to share them with you. So here's me now, regular. As you can see, I have a little bit of a wider hip, but still a cutie. And here's a projection of what I'm gonna look like after the surgery. But for real, y'all, they're just gonna make my hips slim and like give me the Dorito chip, but
This is the only plus-size store in New York. Welcome to Plus Brooklyn, located in 490 Metropolitan Avenue in Brooklyn, New York. This piece of heaven on earth is a plus-size vintage and secondhand shop where you're greeted by fat femme art, the cutest accessories like this ring that will actually fit you, greeting cards with very important messages, and candles for your fat girl altar, obviously. But most importantly, you can find racks of actual vintage and secondhand clothes in your size that you can actually try on in store. Listen, I wasted no time and I started scrambling through the racks and found sold out clothes from one of my favorite brands, Ray, that I have been dying to try on. I grabbed my items and I ran into the dressing room and lived out my dream of being in a dressing room montage. I guess dreams really do come true. So what do you think? Are you gonna go shopping at Plus Brooklyn?
It's snowing right now, I wish it was summer. But when the summer rolls around, I wish I was freezing.
I need to feel something. Harry, can you tell me something that'll piss me off? Boba Fett's better than Mondo. Yep, that'll do it.
Let's talk about why you should just wear the bikini. Being a bigger person, there's a huge stigma around swimwear. Here's a fun example. Last time I was wearing a one piece, I had a woman come up to me and say, "You have such a beautiful body. You shouldn't feel like you need to cover it up." And I truly was only wearing it because it was a cute one piece. And I was trying to even out my tan lines. But there was this assumption like, oh, she's fat and she's wearing a one piece. She must be insecure. And that always confused me because whether my stomach is out or not, I'm still a big bitch. Like, this one piece isn't keeping any of my secrets. Now, this is really a lose-lose situation because if she wears the bikini, now she's confident, right? Whatever that fucking means. So back to my original point, if you're gonna care about people who think like that, the lesser of two evils is just wearing the bikini. And I'm really not here to pressure you into wearing something that you're not comfortable in. But if the bikini makes you feel comfortable and sexy, don't question it. That's what you should be wearing.
And I work like a dog day and night, living off of coffee from a pot none of you want to touch.
Science that isn't based in indigenous knowledge is so dangerous. More often than not, they're doing the opposite of what they hope to do. The main example I can think of is around California fires, because I'm a fire ecologist. I did my PhD in that. So guess who is most responsible for the severity of our California fires these days? Go ahead. Guess. I'll wait. Yeah, you're right. It's Smokey the frickin' Bear. Only you can prevent forest fires. So every time these ads ran and convinced people, and the science at the time was telling people that we needed to stop all of these fires because, oh my God, fire in a fire adaptive system. What? Why? And so because we put out all these small fires, instead of having a series of small fires that are naturally occurring in the system that we can easily control and that benefit the ecosystem, we've allowed so much fuel to burn up that we now have a never-ending series of these long, huge, massive fires that we can't control that spread so quickly. Thanks a lot, Smokey.
This video is for people who have a vagina and vulva. These bike seats are not made for us. This is a standard bike seat. I spent my whole life thinking that I can't bike because I'm not tough enough to stick out the pain, when it turns out that you're not supposed to have pain in the first place. For us, these bike seats can cause discomfort, pain, injury. Not good. Not for us. We have wide hips and we sit on our soft tissue. They're downward facing. This is so thin, and we end up putting our entire body weight on our soft tissue on this thin, tiny part of the seat when it's made for people with front-facing genitals that aren't sitting on their genitals. So you need to go out and buy a bike seat made for you. You can tell this is so much wider for our wider hips, and the padding on the back is so much thicker. It has this little slit in the middle for ventilation, and so you are definitely not putting all your weight on your soft tissue up front. It distributes your weight through your glutes in the back, which is what your glutes are there for, your sitting bones. So go buy a seat that's made for you, and remember, if something feels so uncomfortable and you feel like you're not tough enough for it, it's probably because the thing isn't built or designed with you in mind, and that's not okay.
Pretty girls make a wish like Ray J. Let me talk to him. Okay, it's an SRT. Make a 55 suck they teeth.